Well, good evening and welcome to Awake States tonight. And we are just getting started. The first of 3 live segments that we will be featuring tonight. And first and foremost, we have a very special guest who we have had before. And I'm always impressed with the wealth of knowledge that she brings to the table. It is Common Core Diva on Twitter, Lynn. Glad to have you with us tonight. What have you uncovered in your vast research?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you, Awake States and PJNet for this wonderful opportunity. Congress is at home trying to drum up votes right now. Everybody's going stupid on the election. And I've just been consistently digging away. And what I've found recently is something that it's so wonderful to be able to have an outlet like Awake States, because mainstream media is not going to cover a lot of what I have found and other anti-Common Core warriors or anti-federal education warriors. And, that's what is so great about having this particular outlet. So what I have found, Mark, is, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I have found 2 appropriations reports, one from the House, one from the Senate, where no matter who is elected president, Congress is going to go ahead when they get back in session, and they're going to go full steam ahead with all kinds of appropriated education reform measures. And what is kind of scary, and one thing that we need to know as citizens, is it's not just in education. A lot of what I found, especially from the U.S. House of Representatives, goes over into health care, and then somehow it ties the health care back to the education reform. And then on the Senate side, you're going to see a lot from the labor side, like the TRIO programs, the Gear Up programs, the Learn to Earn programs. And the other shocking thing that I found on the Senate side for the appropriations for fiscal year 2017 was how to overstep the public broadcasting system to use it as a tool for education reform as well.
I thought we were going to do away with PBS.
Well, we need to do away with quite a few things. But, here's what I'm finding is that, while these particular things have been earmarked, some of them have been, increased in their budget. Some of them have been decreased. But the fact that the federal government is still appropriating taxpayer dollars without taxpayer consent, Mark, that's got to be a huge bug up everybody's
It chaps my backside, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've read the 10th Amendment, and where in there does it authorize the government to run a broadcasting facility? How about a newspaper?
Well,
shouldn't they run a newspaper too? I mean, this is what they do in Russia.
Let's see, they've run education, they've run insurance, they've run student loans, they've run, cars, energy. What else? I mean, they're run amok. And what else I'm finding, and this was just out today for my article, and that is how the Congress has been working with the president for the past 7 years, Mark, to kind of reorganize the way our government is working. So it's no longer honoring the Constitution. We know that. But what I have found is that they are more and more replacing it with what is called a PFS, and that is a pay for success system. And what that means to all of us is that private money from private donors and corporations and you name it are going to be fixing public problems. That is a recipe for disaster, be it in education, be it in anything else that the government is using it for. And one of the things that I know is that in the Every Student Succeeds Act, Mark, they have increased the footprint for public-private partnerships, and they've even suggested using pay-for-success systems when it comes to our special needs children. So we have got a Congress that is absolutely stuck on stupid, and we need to vote them out. So, everybody wants to talk about, the president this, the president that, this one, that one, the other. If we have any sense about us, we need to look at these career congressmen and women, especially those who have stood up for the Every Student Succeeds Act, and no matter what form it was, or has stood up to say, you know what, I want to unite education and workforce so that we can have dumbed down educated students who can only do just what I tell them, but yet make me money. We've got to get rid of them.
Lynn, I have not read. You've had two recent posts, and I have not read them
Yeah.
in detail. I kind of scanned over them. If someone wanted to read the entire text, what's the best way for them to find these articles? Not only these two, but you
Right.
have a continuous, well, I would say drip, but it's more like a fire hydrant of information. What's the easiest way they could get there to read
Okay.
about
The
it?
the easiest way to find me is through my blog, and that is www.commoncorediva.wordpress.com. You can find me on Twitter at Common Core Diva. You can find me on Facebook under the same name, Common Core Diva. I also have one that was set up in my honor, and it's called U.S. Parent Call to Action. Those are both on Facebook. And recently, Patriot Institute has picked up some of my articles and is now allowing me to use their platform as well. So,
Well, I went
that's
to
Patriot
your
Institute.
bio page on Twitter at Common Core Diva, and
Right.
on your bio page is a link to your blog. So, folks, if
Absolutely.
you want to
Yeah.
follow, this is not something, Lynn, that you do when you get upset. This is an ongoing project. How long have you been on this passionate journey, and why, and what good has it done
Okay.
other than
Let's
make you
see.
mad?
No, you're not making me mad. No, I've got a big smile on my face. And thank you for asking me. What ignited the spark under my little bottom was, you know, God called my family to homeschool back when my oldest was still able to fit in the crook of my elbow. And, you know, to have that calling and to go through and honor it, and that took 20 some odd years to school all of our children. And knowing that you've honored God's call, knowing that you've had your children raised to be set apart and used for his purposes, and then see your nation start taking those lovely children, not just mine, but anyone, and try to strap them into a career, or to dumb them down, or to overassess them, or to frustrate them to the point of they want to literally kill themselves. I could not sit by and be silent. And so information was given to me, and I took it and I ran with it. The two articles that really set me off, Mark, Tom DeWeese wrote one, and it was a very excellent one about the globalization of American education. And then Kathy Duffy also wrote one that was called The Push for National Standards. And since these articles appeared in a homeschooling magazine, to know if homeschoolers are paying attention to the dangers that are out there, then the rest of the traditional schooling system ought to be paying attention as well. And so that was back in 2009, and I hit the ground running. Started speaking out, started going to conferences and being on interviews and things like that, holding meetings. And then it's just been amazing how God has opened up the blog for me, given me a national following, been able to open up all kinds of interviews like this one and others. And it's just amazing. And the more and more I research, the more and more it all ties back to this globalization that Mr. DeWeese was talking about. And the set of national standards that we now see has not only reached into our K through 12 traditional schools, like our public schools, but it is reaching into our parochial schools, our private schools, our home schools. And if it doesn't get you in K through 12, it's going to get you in post-secondary, because the Every Student Succeeds Act, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and the Higher Education Act are like this three-pronged system, okay? And they are meant to just come down and clamp on your life and make you what some assessment says that you ought to be for a career, and that's what you're locked into. And that is not freedom. That is not America.
Almost sounds like communist Russia back
Well,
when.
absolutely.
I mean, you were, by the time you were an eighth grader, the state had already decided what role you were going to play, and it's just Lynn.
Yes.
2009 to today, that's 7 years. There must have been some high points along the way.
Oh my goodness gracious. High points. Oh, let me see here, dear. Um, every day to me, Mark, that I get to uncover something that people didn't suspect was tied to Common Core is kind of a high point. It's also kind of like I'm just shaking my head. There are times when I walk away, I just have to get up and walk away and either go scream or cry because it's like this daunting, just never ending quagmire of agenda and corruption. And it's like, this is not supposed to be happening. This is not the America that our forefathers fought for. This is not the America that we raised our children to inherit. And it is just so frustrating. So yes, there have been lots and lots of high points. Probably the one of the biggest ones that I can think of was back in 2011. I was honored as a distinguished, can't even say it, a distinguished educator by the the National Society of High School Scholars. And so for me to come from the humble beginnings that I did and get a national award like that, that was a pretty big deal.
Lynn, as a football coach and as a political activist,
Mm-hmm.
it is an emotional roller coaster. I can attest.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, and sometimes we feel like we're winning, and then last year we almost pushed this thing back. I mean, we
Oh,
almost had it, and
that's, yeah.
then they met in the dark of night.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the dark of
Mm-hmm.
night over the July 4th holidays, and that's what they had to do. But and you know what I'm sitting here pondering on the
Okay.
Common Core issue.
Right.
We say stop Common Core. Well, the ship's kind of sailed. So how do we stay motivated, and what do we tell others? Why bother fighting back? It's funded into the foreseeable future. So as
Right.
a football coach, I can tell you, we don't quit.
Right.
Okay, we play,
Right.
we keep playing.
Right.
But not everybody's a football player. You talk to moms, you talk to teachers and educators and students.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep them motivated?
Well, let's see here. I think the way that I keep them motivated is pretty much the way I try to keep myself motivated. And that is as long as I draw a breath and as long as God has gifted me with the skills that He has to research like I do and then give me the platform to share it, it's my duty as a citizen, it's my delight as a parent to help stand with others. And so what I try to do is encourage others to stand with each other. Alice Linehan, on the interview I was with her on last night, she said, we need to link arm in arm. And that's the kind of visual that we need to have, Mark, through this. Because, yeah, Common Core, the name has kind of sailed, but, the other names that it's been rebranded by are still alive and well. Every Student Succeeds Act is going to implement more of those sorts of things. So what we can do is we need to keep fighting no matter how much the government thinks they can lord over us. We need to show them that we are not a bunch of dumb hicks, that we are savvy citizens, that we have power because there's more of us than there are of them. And, stand on our Constitution, stand on our rights. Don't let them take us down. And, if they take us down, then fight to the death. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I plan on doing. And that's what I've been doing for the past 7 years, because it's an honor to be able to be a voice for those who have no voice. And just try and think of it this way, Mark. For every day that this status quo education continues is another day that another child somewhere in America is suffering.
Yeah.
And we cannot stand that.
Yeah, I will. I think that you will quit when we carry your cold, dead body off the battlefield on your sword, and
That's right. Oh my goodness,
and
that's okay.
I will
Because
quit when you dig
that's
me
right.
out of the mound of brass that is piled
But
up around me.
right, but and that's the mindset we all need to have. We need to stop being so distracted by everything that's going on and look at the issue. Forget the person. It's an issue. This is why I always use the phrase Common Core machine, because these people are made in God's image, whether we agree or whether we don't. But this agenda is more like a machine, and it literally is grinding our nation to a halt. So you can attack a machine. You can throw wrenches at a machine. You can, stick stuff in the gears to make it stop working. That's what we, as the grassroots efforts, need to unite and do. And it's wonderful that we have people who really care. But think about our forefathers. They had to have this same, fight to the death thing, attitude, I guess, not thing, but they had that. We've got to recapture that, and we've got to absolutely make it run, because it's not just our children who are suffering. It is every child. And, mine are all graduated. One's done with college. One's going to go back to college when it fits her. One's going to start college when it fits her. But the point of it is that as long as this alignment is going, it's going from birth to grave. So this is meant for every citizen, not every student, every citizen. We've got to give a fig about what's going on, and we've got to really just keep holding Congress accountable. We need to be mad, and we need to use that anger in a productive way rather than in a degrading way.
Well, Lynn, I tell you what,
Yes.
I could listen. Hey, I'm enjoying this, but I promised somebody else that they're going to get a chance to talk here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
Keep up the good work,
Okay,
Lynn, and let's not give up, and let's
Oh, no.
circle the wagons, because
Absolutely.
they can pass a bill, but there are after it's passed, we can fight back, and we'll keep fighting
Absolutely.
back, and there's a core of people in Congress, not many, but there are a few good ones. And we need to get behind them and let them know that we're counting on them,
Absolutely.
because
Yep.
they're going to cast the votes.
That's
Lynn,
right.
you're a champion of the cross and of the cause, and I'm just
Thank you,
honored
dear.
to be associated with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. Good night.
All right, good night.